Good. Yeah,
And
everything's going
just
well.
like that, we're live. Look at that.
There you go. 6 seconds in, we're already live. We head
We're
started.
already live. Look at that. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Corner Cauldron with me, Buffy, and my brother from another mother, my WT, my Wonder Twin, Jim Spillin. And this is episode, I don't even know anymore, something. You know, I stopped counting episodes probably about a year ago. More podcasts. So, how you been, bro? As you were saying.
Yeah, no, can't complain. Getting ready to. This is a week of packing for our infamous beach trip. So we'll head down there for a week. Everybody will relax and unwind and enjoy themselves. And in comes Lucia.
You on Facebook?
Lucia!
Is this on Facebook or is this just on?
Hey, Lucy.
Hi. Welcome home.
I know you're. This is on everything.
I can't find it on Facebook.
I am on Facebook just now. You gotta look for the live red circle around my face.
All right, let me look
on my face on Facebook.
Okay. All right, goodbye.
What are you doing with all that money?
We literally just went live.
They're bonnets.
All I saw was $100 bills. I'm like, we're rich. We're out of here. Go on. Bye-bye.
Listen, you're holding out on me, girl. You're holding out on me, girl.
She's holding out on you. She's holding out on me. God don't do really. Yeah.
Girl power. Girl power.
See, that's that karma coming
that
back.
Funny Monopoly money.
So how you been?
It surely is.
You just had a nice little 3-day weekend.
I did. I took Mama Dukes to Gettysburg. Actually never been to Gettysburg. Well, scratch that. She's been once.
Okay.
And that was like probably about 30, 40 years ago that she went to Gettysburg.
Oh, wow.
So, and she's forgotten a lot of things. So I said, listen, let's go to Gettysburg. And we haven't been anywhere probably in about 3 or 4 years. So let's just get out. It's only 2.5 hours away. If something happens, we're not that far from home. We could just we'll get there. So she said yes, and colored me shocked because I never thought she would say yes, but she did. Gettysburg. She met some of the time travelers that I get dressed up with. We had lunch together. She loved talking to them. We did the Shriver House. We did the Jenny Wade House. She went to the visitor center. I showed her the orphanage. Of course, it wasn't open for daytime tours, so we couldn't go inside. Daytime historical stuff, yes. Spooky stuff, no. She's not about any of that. So don't give her any spook Madukis. No, she's not that type of person. We did that. She rested for a bit. I drove her around today and parts of yesterday, showing her about showed her around some of the battlefields. Took her to the Devil's Den. Well, dang, can't post again. Have to on only private chat. That's terrible, Tim. Tim's only doing private chat again with his part of the StreamYard. I don't know why, but I will definitely keep a lookout on. Yeah, I don't see anybody chatting.
Okay.
I see
Well,
one comment.
I think everybody also too thought we
That's
were
not
going
what
to
I
have a
want to
little bit longer
say.
of a break.
I don't see any comments yet, so we're good so far. Huh?
Like I said, I think we
Can you repeat what you said?
we kind of let everybody know we weren't going to be doing anything for a little bit, and I think some people just taking a break and doing stuff different, or vacation time's also here for a lot. So maybe we're not getting anybody chatting
Yeah.
in.
Right.
So,
It'll happen. Eventually we'll get one or two people on Thursday late anyway. She loves the history of Gettysburg. She didn't realize that there was that much history. I told her about Sickles and his leg. We rode past that monument. We rode past the monument for Corby, Reverend Corbett.
Yep.
And his statue that was out there, and she took a picture of that.
Okay.
She didn't realize that there were some Native Americans that were involved in the Civil War, because there's a monument now in the battlefields to, I believe, the Navajo and their help that they gave during the Civil War. Where else did we go? We went to Little Round Top. We
Nice.
went everywhere. And she absolutely loved it. She loves Gettysburg Eddies. She Sam and her got along swimmingly.
Old Eddies, gotta love that.
She had a great time.
That's good.
Oh yes. Took her to the barn for dinner one night. So we had the buffet down in the thingy.
Yeah.
Did not see Toby. I think that was the whole butt of the joke with the come here.
Yeah.
Come here.
Yeah, that
remember that?
I got all that.
The guy had a twin brother.
A dead man walking right now.
Yep. Toby was not there, which was a good thing.
Okay.
We got waited on by Emily, which was a good thing. So,
good.
All in all, it was hot as Hades.
Yes,
out there,
it was.
walking around them dresses.
Very, very hot.
It was good. And now, maybe 2 hours ago, kind of just took the important stuff out of the car and said, gave the car to Mama Dukes and said, here, bye, see ya. Bing. So, oh my goodness. I've got an itch on my foot that just will not seem to go away. That's why I'm getting close to the screen. I do apologize to those people. And I did get comments from people on the YouTube channel that my face was too close to the damn screen. Okay. I'll try not to be so close to the screen.
I guess they just didn't like that.
For everybody.
Looking down, I see all you people.
They didn't like that, bro. Apparently they didn't like all of us. You know, look at all the eyeballs, you know. See? Mm-hmm. They apparently didn't like that. So you know, we got to do it just to antagonize the people that are the haters. Okay, you can hate all you want. I love to antagonize people. I really, really do. I really, really do. Oh, I have got to tell you something that happened, guys. That was rather kind of interesting. You know that Tilly seems to follow me around every time I'm there. Tilly Pierce, right? And Tilly and I have got this relationship going on thing. Well, Tilly wound up plenty of natives in the Confederate side. Who gives a shitski what they think?
Hmm.
We don't give a shitskis either, Tim, what they think. That's why we were being obnoxious and being real close on the TV,
Right in there
on
with Chuck
the
Wagon.
TV screen. Look at me, TV screen. Right in there with Chuck Wagons. So any hoodles. I went the day that I didn't want to do anything. I said, well, I'm going to go to Saks Coverage. And I have never been to Saks Covered Bridge by myself. It was always with Dave, Teresa, certain members of groups that I was with. So I never actually went by myself. Well, I went by myself, and it was ass hot that day. So nobody was out really because there's no breeze blowing. I said, well, you know what? Just let me do this on my own. I got plenty of water in the car. I'll be fine. So I get there, and it's just me on the bridge and a woman walking her dog. The woman walking her dog leaves. And, of course, Tilly shows up, and the first thing she says, where's your friend? And I said, which one are you speaking of? And I said, are you talking about, are they male or female? And she goes, female friend. And I said, you mean Teresa? And she goes, no. And I said, Lucy? And she goes, no. She said, the girl with the black curly hair. And I immediately thought of Carrie. When we had left, when you had left prior to this, Teresa and Dave had taken me to the Saks Covered Bridge, and I had bumped into someone named Carrie Hopper, and Carrie Hopper was there at the Battlefield Bash, and she was selling her lotions. She owns a company, and I'll even show it to you. It's called This Little Light of Mine, is her company that she sells lotions, soaps, bath bombs, all kinds of crazy stuff, and they're infused with Reiki and crystals. So the day we were there, and that was the day that I had called you and said I had found Tilly and Horace's initials in the bridge. Remember that day?
Yep.
That I called you and I was crying. Mm-hmm. You were driving home, and I said, I found it. Yeah. After 2 years, I finally found it. Carrie was with me. She kind of looked at me really funny, and she said, you don't know who I am, but my name is Carrie. And she said, something told me to come to this bridge and to find the woman. And I think they were talking about you. And you are talking with a spirit right now. And I said, yeah, it's Tilly. And she said, I know. And she said, did you find it yet? And I said, what do you mean, did I find it yet? She goes, did you find her initials? And I said, after 2.5 years, I finally did, but she had no idea what I was looking for. And I said, put your hand down here on this log or on this board. And she said, what do you feel? She said, I feel a lot of energy. I feel a lot of happiness that you finally found something that she thought she lost forever. Yesterday. Mm-hmm. She was talking about Carrie. She said, I love her energy. So I immediately instant message Carrie. Carrie has a podcast as well. She does a podcast with Aaron Bush, and it's on YouTube, and it's called, well, now that was weird. It is on Dead Spectrum. I think the name of the YouTube channel is called Dead Spectrum, but she's on there. Aaron Bush, if anyone is familiar with the Conjuring House, Aaron Bush was employed by the Conjuring House at one point. And her and Carrie became really good friends. And they wound up doing a podcast. And I recommend, if you like this podcast, Carrie and Aaron's podcast called Well Now That Was Weird is even more fun to watch. You'll have to catch it on YouTube. I believe it's called Dead Spectrum is the name, and I'll link it in here when we're done. So anyway, Hoodles, and we became fast friends. I joined her podcast family every other Thursday, and it's great. And I think you guys should too. So, and she talks about me often, which is kind of funny. If I make a comment, she'll say that, Corner Cauldron, that's Marie, and she'll talk about the time that we met in Gettysburg at the Sachs Covered Bridge. And so I texted her immediately and I said, girl, you will never guess who I ran into at the covered bridge today at Sachs Covered Bridge. And she said, who? And I said, well, of course, Tilly. And she asked where my friend was. And I listed the names I went through, and then I said, Carrie. And she said, yeah, the one with the black curly hair. I really like her vibe. She really has good energy. I like her a lot.
Nice.
And Carrie was immediately taken aback at the Sachs Covered Bridge. Not as as a scheduled plug, but if you are interested in looking for hand lotions, body butters, scrubs, lip balms, bath bombs, her company is called This Little Light of Mine, and I'll link it and I'll share it on my Facebook page. She sent me something to try out called Chill Baby. Knowing that I am of the paper variety, of the copy paper variety, and that I lobsterify myself every time I'm out in the sun, she wanted me to try this and give it a review. It is a cooling body lotion that you use for after sunburn or after you work out, for muscle fatigue and all that stuff. All of the lotions, body butters, scrubs, all that good stuff are infused with Reiki and crystals. That is a great thing. No one is doing this. No one but her is doing this at this point. And her company is in North Carolina. So I'm going to link the Facebook page or the web page. Good stuff. And this, you can smell the menthol that it uses to cool the body down, but it's got this unexpected baby powder finish on the back end. It's like when the menthol goes away, it smells like baby powder.
Really?
I don't know how she did it. What kind of witchery is this? But it smells really good. And it's not that really harsh, kind of like punch you right in the face, like Absorbine. Now, this is how old I am. I am referencing Absorbine Jr.
Oh, my God.
It's not that, shabam, right in the face. Let me get you with some camphor and mentholatum right in your nostrils, kind of thing.
Right?
Yes.
Is it?
And I've already used it.
I
got it today and I used it, and I absolutely love it.
Is it smooth? Is it soft and smooth? It's not gritty, is it?
It's smooth. It is.
Okay.
It is soft and no, not gritty at all. Look,
no, I just think
it's like whipped. It's almost like. Oh yeah, no, they're I guess they're ground up really fine, because when you put this on, it's got the consistency of like whipped cream.
Okay.
When you put it on, and it's not greasy. It absorbs right into the skin. You, my friend, Mr. Lobsterfied man, could use some of this. You could use some of this. Your Irish self could use some of that. I'm just saying.
I'll go to her. Once you get the site, I'll go to her site and check it out.
Okay. So yeah, she she kind of selected some people that, or they, Vernon, you want to try it? She put something on Facebook saying, hey, you want to try this? I need reviews. Please raise your hand. And the first umpteen people will get a free sample. This is not a sample, Carrie, if you're watching this. This is like a full heft, a full bottle, or a full jar. This ain't no little, I'm going to go to the Greens place that used to be the guy with the glasses and go to the travel size section where you're getting that. This gonna last you sometimes. Yeah, no, this is not a 1 ounce jar. This is a lot.
Looks like a 20 ounce jar.
This is a full 8 ounces.
Oh God.
And you only need a little bit. It's a tubs. It's a tubs of goodness.
So a little dabble
I put it on about 2 hours ago. Little dabble D. Yeah, like right behind your ears, like a little pinch in between your cheek and gum. That in there.
Great.
I put this on about 2 hours ago, and it's still cooling. You can still feel it cooling on your skin.
Wow.
But it doesn't have that obnoxious absorbing junior smell. Yes, I'm old. Please, I don't want any comments about me being freaking old. Oh my goodness.
I'm not exactly young.
Jim, can you try the comments?
Yeah, I tried inside. I can't get any comments out.
He just said test. Yeah, he's not getting any comments out. Jim, can you try the comments? She's good. She is very good. I love Carrie and all that goodness. So if she sees this tonight, I approve. Marie approves.
The Corner Cauldron approves.
Of her cooling chill. Yes. Chill, baby, is what it's called. Chill, baby. Absolutely approved by me. That's untrue, because I did get sunburn up there. I mean, I had many people get their pictures taken with me, and then after they got their pictures taken with me, they're like, oh my gosh, your face looks like it's gonna explode. And I'm like, I'm Scottish, Irish, and Italian. Apparently, the melanin did not get the telegram from the Italian to like turn up the melanin, because I am very deficient in the melanin department.
Here comes my lobster can.
Even my hair is trying to escape the melanin department. So what's new and spooky with you? What's going on?
Now, I was trying to think of some things that we could do, especially now since we kind of have this platform here, and you got the YouTube channel might work, is trying to find places that maybe we could visit live for a show. I don't know. There's the one place
we were talking about that.
Yeah, there's a place up in North Wilmington, Marsh Road and Harvey Road, called Odd Emporium. And I was looking at, you can look at their site, just a bunch of weird, different types of things, and the reviews on it are good. Apparently, the two owners are very knowledgeable of their stuff. They have rare, different, vintage kind of things. I was just starting to look through it tonight before we went on here, and they look like they have skeleton type animals. They had pictures of an infant that I saw. And then you remember back in the early days, they would take the picture of the people when they were dead, and this looked like a picture of a dead baby that was kind of like.
Oh yeah, I got a book on that.
You what?
Yeah, I actually have a book on that.
But yeah, it's just
and it's in French. It's called Photographique de Mort, or Mort, which is dead photographs.
That was a popular thing back in
Mhm.
way back day.
I'd love going to that place.
But I mean, I was
Oh
thinking
gosh,
maybe
yeah.
make touch with
That
the
that
owners.
that
Say, hey, wouldn't
that doing that was the thing.
yeah, maybe make touch with the owners and say, hey, look, because their names are right there on their Facebook page.
I would love doing that.
The and like I said, it gets good reviews. Apparently, they're both very knowledgeable and very nice people, and can answer a lot of questions. And it looks like a lot of people, some people that are visiting there all
Yeah.
the time, they enjoy it so much.
Page.
Something different.
I know. Is that's the one that's up in Arden, right?
Yep. Yeah, right there at the corner of Marsh Road and Harvey Road. It used to be a barber shop. I used to get my hair cut there.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna slip away.
But I was just thinking, maybe there's things that we could
Yep. Keep talking. I
find
hear you.
some new things to do or try, or other people who, because there's a lot of things in Delaware here that don't really get the press per se because they're small. I mean, nobody else is going to do an article on them. And we're not going to do an article on them. Maybe we can walk through there one night and just have the cameras going and showing everything that they got in their audio shop. I had them tell us about the
We
strangest.
apologize. Excuse me, with our video tonight. This is called Beyond the Dark Veil. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's the Beyond the Dark Veil?
This book that I have is called Beyond the Dark. Yep.
Okay.
This book here is all about the reasons they did photography of the dead, and it has pictures in it that were donated by family members of those that had passed on. They wound up doing photos on.
Right.
And I mean, if you want to talk about that tonight, that's an interesting subject itself, because back then doing photographs of the dead was not a macabre thing. It was a thing that was normal.
Very
It
normal.
was very much a thing that was normal.
Well, and the other thing is, a lot of people don't realize back then when those pictures were being taken like that, families almost had to stand still for like almost a half hour just for the film to work, to take the picture.
Correct.
But sometimes they wouldn't get a picture, and you'd have the person die, and then they would dress them all up. And so if you ever look at those types of pictures, the people they have a look like, that's not a real face. It's not a real body. It's almost like a mannequin. When it's not, it's actually, in fact, a preserved human being getting their picture taken. Very popular.
It is. They were very popular, and it is because the mortality rate back in, even before the 1800s, the mortality rate was extremely high. And we get a lot of questions as to why, a family, a husband and wife would have 12, 13 kids or 15 kids or 16 kids. It wasn't because wanted that many kids. It's because they had, and nonsense set my back in the 70s, because she was, Tim said my grandfather went nuts, or my grandmother went nuts on my stepmom back in the 70s because she took pictures of my grandfather while he was in the casket, and that there was 12 in her grandmother's family. The mortality rate was very high during that time. You had things like, they didn't have sanitation. Penicillin wasn't invented until the 1920s. So ways to get rid of infections didn't exist. And if they did, they were very few and far between. It was more or less like root magic. There were bread poultices that women made that they learned from their grandparents how to make, to kind of draw out the infection. But It was because more kids meant more hands on the farm to do work. You may have had 3 that survived between the diseases like cholera, dysentery, typhoid, yellow fever, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, tuberculosis, or back then they used to call it consumption because the lungs were consumed by fluid. So they used to call it consumption. But it's known today as tuberculosis, ran rampant in places like that. And to me, I don't know about anybody else. I don't know about you, but Mother Gabby gave me that book, and that's one of my favorite books that she gave it to me. And her sister yelled at her and was like, "Ew, why are you giving me, Mom, a book about the dead for Christmas?" It was like the most macabre, weird thing you could do, and I absolutely loved it. I was like, I know, I love it. It's not, if you look in it, people are going to say, "Ew, it's scary. Ew, it's this. Ew, it's that." A lot of these photos are as if they are still alive.
Mm-hmm.
That they're just standing still for a photo. The people who took the photos were artists at doing what they did. They were charged with the responsibility of making the person not look dead, as if they were just sleeping, or if they were awake and just standing still for their photo being taken.
Mm-hmm.
There are some where things happen that they couldn't control. So, I mean, you get some, like there's one picture in there of a beautiful little girl, but they couldn't keep her eyes closed. So you've got one like little lazy eye looking happening, and it's not her fault. And the mechanisms that they used to hold these people up, like sitting in chairs, leaning against people. See, some of them that have the young children, what looks like sitting in a chair with a black cloth over it, that's not a chair. They're sitting in their mom or dad's lap, and they put a black cloth over the dad or the parent, so it doesn't look like a parent. Like it looks just like a chair or black background due to, certain situations. I find it beautiful. I don't know. Call me weird. Yep, I find it beautiful. What are your comments on that? What are your feelings on those photos?
I think they're neat. It's not the right word, I think, but it's clever how they did them. They didn't get rid of. They brought I don't know where to look, but they brought grace, I guess, to the people. So, you know what I mean? Like they kind of gave that person their new day.
Mm-hmm.
Here's your chance. We're going to take your picture. You're going to look good. And like you said, they would be propped up between 2 live people. Or, like you said, the young ones would be sitting on what everybody thinks is a chair, getting a picture when it's an adult holding them. So, like you said, I was not aware that they would do it. That's how they did those things. That's pretty clever by the photographer to come up with those ideas on how to get these people to get a nice picture of them. And the pictures, I mean, if you look at it, you can see, hey, yeah, if you sit there and accept what it is and you look at it and say, it's a deceased person, you can tell. I mean, it's not like it was a great secret, but they, at least they were getting their dignity is word I was looking for. They gave the people some dignity because they may have never had a picture taken. That might have been the only chance they had to get a family picture taken. Mm-hmm. The person passes away, and also, you want to get them involved in the picture. So, however that came to mind, and however they decided to do that, whoever decided, it was like you said, it's pretty clever. you know, to come up with that idea, I
think
would
it
have
was.
I would have never thought of saying, "Hey,
Uh,
let's pose and dress up Jimmy, and he can take pictures of him with his family in between everybody." But, yeah, but yeah, and just the photography alone itself, that you know,
I-
and if you look at it,
yeah, but I mean,
there,
look at him being silly.
there's
He's
no
just
blur to the picture. Everything is done well. Nowadays you have to have that quick flash or the quick
Mhm.
shutter speed to get a picture, and here they're doing it with almost an wide open shutter, waiting for the picture to take and then to develop and process inside. You still couldn't
Mhm.
move because it's still photographing you. So it was a long process for it to happen. And for those pictures to come out,
Right.
the quality they come out of was impressive. You know, and the families wanted to do that further loved
It
their
was
loss.
impressive.
Yeah, so I've always thought it
Mhm.
intriguing.
Those kinds
Um,
of things were. Mhm. They are intriguing, and who was it? Tim made the comment, like old Floyd the barber on the Andy Griffith show. They propped him up because of a stroke he had. And I
oh,
remember
really?
watching the Andy Griffith show. I remember Floyd the barber. In fact, he was one of my favorite
I didn't know that.
characters. Was Floyd the barber?
Yeah.
In the Andy Griffith show. But they propped him up because he had a stroke. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Did not know that.
You also have to, yeah. Mm-hmm. He couldn't use the one side of his body, so they used to prop him up. But you also have to remember back then, death was a part of normalcy because there were no viewings in a funeral parlor back then. 100% of the viewings were for like an entire week, where they would get a giant block of ice, cover that block of ice with a black sheet, put the coffin on top of it, and let it go. And the person you would literally be sleeping with the dead person in your living room
Oh, okay.
for 7 days, 12 days, depending on, because if their family lived far away, they didn't have cars back then. You got to remember, they had trains and they had boats. So, and trains took days sometimes to get from one end to the other.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you had a family member that passed away here in Delaware and their family members lived in California, they had to take a train. That's a 2-day, 3-day train sometimes to get to the family. So that was all part of normalcy back then. I mean, you're downstairs, you wake up in the morning and you're trying to go play with your toys in the parlor, and there's dear old Aunt Edna who's stiff as a board in the middle of the damn living room.
Yeah.
And you got chairs in the living room, people to come in there, and the preacher probably spent the night. We had a few in-house services like that, even while I was a mortician up in the old Appalachian Mountains. I'm sure you did, Tim. Tim was making mention that when not a lot of people know that our producer was a mortician at one time, and they did he said, did have some house services in the Appalachian Mountains. Now, in Appalachia, again, sometimes old traditions are very true, and they like keeping them that way, and because a lot of them don't even know any better. That's the way they did things, and that's the way they stick to it. And even today, they're gonna have dear old Aunt Edna or Uncle Bob, who passed away, flat out on an ironing board in the middle of the living room on top of the dang TV. You know, and here you go on top of a block of ice. And I bet you didn't even know that. Did you know? Okay, here's a fun fact about funerals.
Okay.
Did you know that there were people that held jobs as actual professional wailers?
Professional wailers? Oh, for the crowd to mourn for the deceased?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the name. Yeah.
Yeah. They came up.
I'll say. He's smart. I can't put nothing past him. I can't put nothing past Jim. He's SMRT. Smart.
I'm Mert.
Smart. And apparently, I don't even know where my big pie hole is because I just spilled water on myself. Dang it. That's because it didn't have any alcohol in it. That was the problem. It didn't have any alcohol in it. That's the problem. It's just water. My mouth tried to rebuke the water. It just rebuked the water, man. Apparently, it thinks I'm still on vacation. You are rebuking the water today. We're not having any more water. It is alcohol time.
It's time to cleanse. It's time to
cleanse from the inside out. Yes. Oh, Lord. Tim says they even rented caskets and flowers. If no pastor was available, it came down to the mortician to say the services.
Oh, God.
Oh, Lord. That's horrible.
Multi-talented there, Tim.
He was multi-talented. Can you imagine?
You know what I want to tell? I want to know, how did they deal with the odor if they did it in the house? But you can keep that body cool all you want.
I can't give away all the secrets, but I can tell you there is a process that we used when we took that body home. Now, when we took the body home, we would set up everything inside the home just like you would in a regular chapel, right? Or funeral home. It's just what that deceased or the family's wishes were. But we did have those bodies to go home and stay there until burial. And a lot of times with the caskets, sometimes the family couldn't afford one, but we would rent one, and they would rent the casket. We would position the body, whatever, have the service. But at the end of the service, we'd put them, like into other things, and flowers we would take back to the funeral home. Yeah. Stick them up. I mean, I can't really, tell you everything that happened, but because
I'm sure
a lot
you
of times
can.
in these, I mean, especially up in the rural part, like in the Appalachians and things like that, where you're extremely poor. A lot of the funeral homes in these big cities will not deal with someone, say, who's financially not stable. They won't do that. Me being affiliated with the funeral home that I was assigned to, we overlooked a lot of things, and we gave a lot of stuff away for nothing hardly.
Being such a nice thing.
Yeah, and my brother, he was very involved in the upkeep of the cemeteries and things like that. So some of the graves were donated, things of that nature. But we had professional mourners, believe it or not.
Mhm.
and they charged $75 per service. They would come in, they would put on a big show. Well, like these people had friends that really cared about them, but when it came right down to having anyone, no, they had nobody. Right. A lot of times, pastor, we couldn't get a pastor in, so I would take over the service, um, whether it was at a graveside or whatever the case may be. And we would treat them just like, that they had plenty of family or, whatever the case. Um, we never turned anyone away. We always, followed through with our wishes and things of that nature. But yeah, there is a process that you go through. And like I said, I can't really tell you a lot about it on, the show, but, there is things, that we can't disclose. But there's there's a lot
Right.
of professional mourners out there. They still are. There's a lot of pastors that'll charge you to come in and do a service. Um, as for makeup, a lot of times when I did the makeup for a deceased, um, I would do that because they teach you how to do that in mortuary school, mortuary science, how to to put the toner and all that stuff on. Um, and we would hire a lot of the beauticians that would come in, do the hair and things of that nature. But yeah, but everything else pretty much followed on the family and the directors, whatever they wanted. So yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Talk about beauty school dropout. Here, this is what we want you to do. We want you to work on this person's hair. Unfortunately, we're not going to tell you that they're dead. Yeah.
You had to be very careful with that.
His hair.
Right, you had to be very careful with that because a deceased, they're no longer, have that blood flowing, right? So you had to be very careful with that skin tone.
Yeah.
And we had one director who actually almost ruined the whole service one time, and it just so happened I got called in on it. Yeah, to correct because this individual was pink, and he put the wrong type of coloration on her and turned her pink as a freaking Smurf.
God.
Yeah, that was his last day.
I would think so.
Yeah, so I mean, the director, the owner called me in. Oh my God, yeah. Some of the stories I could tell you what we went through. Yeah, unbelievable.
Wow.
I'm sure you could. I mean, but here's the thing. I understand about the professional whalers and stuff, and I understand about having the beauty school come in and do the hair and whatnot, and having you stand in if you couldn't find a pastor or whatever. But renting the damn coffins, can you imagine being the person that has to here's Fred in that rented casket. You get to the grave site and go, you poor bastard, see you later, Fred. And they just dump him in the hole, and they take the casket and throw it back in.
You see them walking out with the empty coffin. Old Fred's down in the ground.
The caskets that we rented were always a 16 gauge metal, and they were always gray. And we always kept a couple of those just, for standby. And, and they were separate from the other displays that we had. But yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we rented the flowers too, if that's,
Well, damn.
That's what you needed, right?
They're throwing Fred overboard here. Like, give Fred a shove out of the old coffin. We need it by 6 o'clock.
It was something, the family goes through, right? That's one of the worst times of anyone's life, and especially if you don't have the funds to buy a service, and and we would try to give them that dignity, right? And we would try to uphold our part of I wouldn't say pro bono, but there was a few
Mhm.
times that, that we did do a pro bono thing because, sometimes people are, just
Oh
don't have
my.
that. And services are expensive. They really
I
are.
just couldn't imagine. I just couldn't imagine. I mean, what even if you don't have the money even to rent that stuff? What I mean, I'm not trying to poke fun of this, but even though it is maybe a little funny, but I mean, what if you can't even afford that? What do? Dig a hole in your backyard and put Aunt Viola in the hole and just be like, yeah, you're buried next to Skippy the dog now. I
No,
mean,
no, we do have in a lot of the cemeteries, we have what we call paupers
Mhm.
area, right? That's where.
okay.
Now, don't get me wrong. Just because you buried in a pauper's area grave that might be donated to you,
Hmm.
from the county, state, city, whatever the case may be.
Right.
Um,
Right.
it's that reason because that individual may not have relatives at that time who can claim that body. So you have
Mhm.
to dispose of it because
Right.
you can only keep them, on ice so long, right?
Right.
So we do our best
Only
to,
keep them fresh for so
right,
long.
and we'll mark the grave and all of that stuff, and until a family does come in and claim the remains, and
Mhm.
then they could be
Mhm.
transported over to another section of the cemetery or maybe shipped out of state, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like I say,
Mhm.
sometimes grave sites can be donated to you for someone may not be in that area anymore. So
Hmm.
they just kind of give the funeral home,
Mhm.
or the cemetery permission to go ahead and donate that section of that grave to someone who may
Right.
not be able, financially able to do, to come in and actually purchase a grave site. Because
Right.
those things run, I mean, face it, I mean, our average funerals anymore, they run anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000,
Mhm.
and that's that's uh, that's
Mhm.
that's a low ball. That's a low ball. I've seen them go as high as up to 30,000. Um,
Jesus.
it all depends on what you want in the
Oh
service.
God.
Where you're going to be buried at, what casket, what vault. Some of the vaults that they have, they run anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000. And that's your big fancy vaults that you see. It may be gold,
Mhm.
lay or silver or whatever, and they may have a seal around them and all this stuff. Airtight thing. But yeah, the prices are
Right.
extremely expensive. And me, I'm going the cheap route.
I
You
mean,
know,
Well, I'm the $10 variety.
you got it.
Just press and
I'm
dust me.
serious. Yeah, yeah.
oh yeah. I'm yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna tell my kids, you better grab some sticks off of that walnut tree out in the backyard. Just throw my fat behind on it and let her up. Let her
Oh, you're
go.
going. You're
Sweep
going
up
for
the
the
ashes
Nordic.
when you're done.
You're going for a Viking
Because there's
funeral.
really,
Okay.
yeah.
See those
You know what?
Nordic.
If we can afford it, yes, that's what I want. Yes, I want someone. I want to go out in a blaze of glory. Blaze of glory. I want them talking about my funeral. I want a
Get
Nordic
some.
ship. I want my body thrown on there. I want
Get
all of
those
my
7 arrows
weapons,
to get
all
her
of my
to burn.
favorite things on
Yeah, no, not me. I just make it easy.
there. Yes.
Stamp and
And
dust.
and, and just shoot the arrows.
Oh yeah. Arch those bad boys. Let them go. But yeah, like Tim said, there's so many ways.
Oh yeah,
You could do it. You could do top.
we just need someone to scream, "Use the buttons!"
Yeah,
Of course.
Nothing fancy for me.
Of course. Yeah, no, I just yeah, I don't know. Just throw me on the barbecue grill and forget about me. Set it and forget it, kind of thing. and just leave me to go, kind of thing. Just don't forget to scrape out the ashes when you're done.
Just give me one Bernie's weekend, and then you can get rid of me.
You even want them to staple a toupee on your head, right?
Right.
Throw you overboard. Watch your head hit every buoy. Bring you back.
I have a puppeteer have my strings attached, so they'll just be
do the conga line once or twice.
Yeah.
You kind of awakened a memory for me. That was one of my grandmother's favorite movies was Weekend at Bernie's. And her favorite part was when he went overboard and his head was hitting every buoy, and then they brought him back and they stapled his toupee on him, and the conga line, a whole thing. The other one was Overboard. She liked when I guess it was Goldie Hawn's character remembered who she was, and one son came out and goes, "She's fine. No more ba. She's fine. God." As they dunked her in the tank, and she's telling the kids that they were the spawn of Satan.
Spawn of Satan.
She'd given birth to the spawn of Satan. Which is hilarious. I don't think I've ever seen my grandmother laugh any harder than with those two movies that were her favorite. But yeah, I mean, those pictures, getting back to the pictures, those pictures were a way of them being able to get a family photo, because back then there weren't a lot of occasions to get family photos.
No.
And when someone passed away that was predominant in the family, either the children or mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, there was an occasion to have a family photo. Now, with family photos way back then in the 1800s, it was tin photos. Those tin photos took up to 15 minutes to develop on a plate of tin. So people say, and they expressed this today or this weekend when I was doing the tours with my mom. We got a lot of people who asked the question, why is it that everyone back then, every photo you see of someone back then, why do they look miserable? Or why do they look unhappy?
Yeah, I'll tell you why.
All the time. There never is anyone smiling.
No.
Go ahead, tell us why.
Because they had to stand still forever for the picture. There was nothing happy or fun about it.
You know,
imagine standing there for 15, 20, 30 minutes and you can't move. You know, my luck, I had this big mosquito right on the side of my neck chewing into me. I wouldn't be able to smack it because the picture's being taken. So you got to sit there and you got to be still. People, it's hard enough to take a picture of somebody with a regular camera.
This is why there would be no photos of Jen.
Right.
This is why there would never be any photos of Jen.
Right. I mean, look at today's pictures. Nobody wants they want their picture. Okay, here's my smile. If you didn't get it, you didn't get it. Yeah, you imagine back then, it's like they're probably sitting there. Lips. God damn, Abe, why'd you die before this picture was taken? I got to hold you up and stand here and be still for 30 minutes, you son of a bitch. But yeah, I don't know. And there weren't that many photographers.
There was no one doing
no photo bomb,
duck lips, you know, doing all this thing that they do nowadays. The photo bomb, the duck lips, the peace signs. Hey, look at me, hey.
And the one I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
and they do this. They do this.
And
I have no idea what the hell that's supposed to mean.
Oh yeah, what is that? What is this with your tongue hanging out kind of yeah.
I don't know.
What is the point in all that? I found it very interesting, and yes, I found it very funny. I literally lost my ish. I was laughing so loud when we did the Jenny Wade tour, and someone had made that comment, like, why, and it was a young person. They were teenager, said, why were all these people mean and mad all the time? None of them smiled. And one of the people that was in the tour was very educated. He did a lot of research. You could tell that he loved Gettysburg because he had numbers down by like the 10th kind of thing, which was great. And he said because it took them like anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes to develop that film, because they were using tin. It wasn't like today's phones or a Polaroid camera or something like that. It was something that was brand new. And out of the crowd, out of nowhere, there was this elderly man who came out. You're in Gettysburg, for crying out loud. Look at what happened. Was there anything to smile about?
That's good.
You got people being dead in the street. You got houses ransacked, and now you got disease and dysentery, people crapping themselves to death literally on the street. Was there anything to be happy about that they had to be smiling?
And you want to know why they're not smiling? Well, son,
I
there it
wouldn't be
is.
smiling. And everybody literally lost shit. It was hilarious. Everybody, and it wasn't supposed to be. The guy was being very honest about it.
Sure.
But he was so funny. And even the tour guide lost her shit. She literally started cracking up laughing. She said, well, sir, nobody ever really put it that colorfully. But sure.
In simple terms.
That could have been another reason that there wasn't really
People say the funniest damn things.
Went on and on. And he was by the tour the most popular in the yeah.
Yeah, your internet's breaking up.
But I found out some interesting facts when I was hear the interesting facts I have to say about the show, about some of the sayings.
Okay.
From Gettysburg that I learned. Okay. So I can't take credit for this. This was I don't remember your name. So if you see this and you see she didn't even mention my name, honey, brain gone. The tour guide that we had, the lovely red-haired lady that we had, the tour guide at the Jenny Wade house. Okay. So do you ever wonder where they get the term hitting the hay from? Like when you're going to go to sleep, you're going to hit the hay, go to sleep.
No.
Okay. Back then, their mattresses were made out of hay. They would fill up hay and then encase hay off material and sew it together. Well, because sanitation was such a big issue,
right?
In that hay, in said hay, any creepy bullies or so had beds made that were rolling pin beds or rolling pin headboards. What that meant was that the top spindle of the headboard came off and it looked like a rolling pin. And before you got into bed, you would take that rolling pin and hit the hay with it and to make whatever was in the mattress still alive, unalive, or get it to come out of the mattress. So that's where hitting the hay comes from.
Oh, no kidding. That's a good one.
Another one was that's a good one. Biting the bullet. When it's a bad situation and you just have to bite the bullet and deal with it. Just trudge on and comeuppance.
Right.
That is because amongst straps and leather belts, when they were amputating a patient's arm or leg off in World War II. Listen to me. In the Civil War, they did not have access to ether a lot of times, so they would do what they call quick and dirty hacks. They would give the patient what little painkiller they had, which was either opium, laudanum, which was considered a form of morphine or powdered morphine. They would get them extremely drunk, and then they would give them a unarmed bullet and make them bite down on it in order to kind of cessate some of the pain and get them not to scream really loud. So that's where bite the bullet came from.
Okay.
And my last one, tying the knot. Do you have a guess of where that came from?
The only thing I can say, it's got to do something with the wedding.
That is true. I will give you an A for effort on that one.
All right.
It does. It has something to do with the wedding.
By the hands.
They all had, even though close but no cigar. That's part of like the hand fasting thing. So even though they looked miserable, they did all have senses of humor. So when a couple got married, which was usually at the family home of either or in a mutual location, when the bride and groom went back to their house or their parents' house to consummate the marriage, many beds did not have wooden boards underneath of them to sit the mattress on. They didn't have box springs.
Oh, okay.
What they had was what they called a knotted bed, which was rope that was weaved in a crisscross pattern up and down the bottom of the bed to keep the frame together so that they could put the mattress on top of it and you wouldn't fall through the floor. Well, sense of humor, someone from the wedding party, usually the best man, or the mother and father of the bride, during the partying would go upstairs to the newlyweds' bed and untie the knots, a lot of them, and keep the mattress on top just to the point where it would stay on top. So when they got in the bed at the end of the night, they fell through the bed and spent most of the entire night tying the knots to the bed so that they could actually go to sleep. But yeah, that's where tying the knot came from.
Oh, God, love those wedding hijinks.
Ta-da! That was my goblet.
That's great.
Yes, and that was my goblet of knowledge for this evening. You got anything to add, sir?
No, I don't. I know we're just trying to wing it tonight.
Chewing on paper.
Huh?
Yeah. I just want to remind everybody that I will be at the Tree of Life shop on the 12th, which is this Saturday, doing tarot card readings.
Nice.
I will be back at the Tree of Life shop. And this, I want everybody that sees this. And I'm going to do a TikTok. And I'm going to have one of my friends kind of like boost the TikTok video that I'm going to do. Because I don't use TikTok like I used to. I basically ignore it. But I figured this was a way to get it out. We'll be at the Tree of Life shop on July 19th again. This is for a special event.
Oh.
The cost of this event is $40 per person.
Wow.
Okay. And if you can, I will bring a box for donations as well. Sherry, who works at the Tree of Life shop, is part of Save the Stray Schuylkill.
Mhm.
Save the Strays is a TNR program that eliminates or tries to lessen the amount of stray colonies in and around the Schuylkill County and Shenandoah Valley. There happens to be an extravagant amount of stray cats, those that are feral colonies, and TNR means trap, neuter, release. They do go out on calls. They will trap, neuter, and release some of the cats that they cannot socialize. A lot of them go into foster care, and then once they become socialized, out into are up for adoption. All right. Sherry and her group do this out of the goodness of their hearts. There is no brick and mortar. They do this as volunteers. They do this aside from their 9-to-5 job. And right now, they have actually closed their intake. You cannot call them and say, hey, I have a feral colony, or hey, a cat got hit by a car. Can you come get it? Oh. They take in the strays, the indigent, that are sick. And those cats, once they're trapped, they are neutered. They are given examinations by a vet. They are given all of their first shots. They are dewormed. They are spayed and neutered. Any surgeries that they may need are taken care of by Save the Stray Schuylkill. And any medicines they need, any procedures that are done, all through the Save the Stray Schuylkill. The food, the medicine, the surgeries, the traps, the time, the energy, the gas, all come out of donations from everyone. They are literally scraping the bottom of the barrels for food. When you become a foster for them, you are given the supplies. So it doesn't out of the foster parents' pocket. And Save the Strays gives them, wet food, the dry food, litter, whatever supplies that they're going to need to foster these kitties. The fosters have been overrun. They cannot take in any more fosters because their houses are just full at this point. Okay. Some fosters have 6 cats. Some fosters have 8 cats. And they do this, mind you, they do this with no complaints to the goodness of their hearts. Some of them even dig into their own pockets to help pay for the surgeries for the cats. One of their success stories was Timber Frost. Timber Frost got caught in an animal trap. When Sherry got the call, they went out. They took her leg out of the trap. They thought it was okay because it was dark. They thought that it was bleeding, that it was just cut. She may need some stitches, some antibiotics, and she would be fine. But the morning light, when they took her to the vet, it was as grim as it could be. Her leg was literally hanging on by a thread. And the doctors did not have high hopes for Timber Frost. They said, even if we remove the leg, there is a great possibility that she'll die from infection. But we got to give it a try since she's still alive and in otherwise kind of healthy condition. They did, after weeks of being in ICU, round the clock antibiotics, food, love, care, she made an amazing recovery. Timberfrost is now looking for her home, but because she is a tripod, her chances of getting adopted are less because not everybody wants a tripod cat, because they think they're disabled. I will let you know that cat runs faster and jumps farther than any 40 cat that they have. If you come to see me on July 19th, I'm betting everyone out here, listen, talking to everyone out here. Hello, you. I want to see your face. I want to see them balls. I'm doing a special event where I'm going to be channeling 2 ETs that have been following me for at least 3 years. These ET are here and they are ready to talk. If you've ever wondered why they're here, how did they get here? What do they have to do with us? What do they have to do with the earth? How far away did they come from? Are there any in the government? XYZ, ABC. They're going to answer it. They want to talk. You will get to see me do this for 3 hours for $40. I will not keep any of that money. I am not taking any pay that day. In fact, I am giving Sherry the money to rent the room in the back. That is coming out of my pocket as a donation to save the stray school. They need your help. I'm going to invite some of the kitties that are, socialized and have been vetted to be there so that people can actually see the kitties and see the ones that are up for adoption. There will be adoption applications available to those who want to adopt. There will be applications for those who want to foster who are close enough to be able to do that. It is going to be at Ringtown, Pennsylvania. It is from 1 to 4 p.m. I want to see people. I do not want to be disappointed. This isn't for me, people. This is Sherry. This is for someone who puts her neck out on the line every single time. For me, for our community, and for these kitties. She is the voice of these kitties she is the voice of those who cannot speak. Those who would be euthanized. They're not taking cats at the SPCA anymore because they're full. They are completely full of stray cats. In fact, if they are there, I believe for more than 48 hours, they are slated for euthanasia because there's just no more room for them. These are cats that didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask to be born to these feral colonies. All they're looking for is a sex. And if you got room in your heart, even if you don't want to adopt a kitty, please just donate the $40. Come see me. This will not be an event that will be televised. It's not one that's going to be on, listen to me, televised. Facebook, it's not going to be on any of the social medias. That's not the point. The point is for me to get the $40 from you to give to Sherry. Your $40 can pay for medicines. Your $40 can pay for at least 2 packs of food for the cats and pay for traps. They also have an Amazon wish list and they also have a Walmart wish list. Lots of it is medicine, antibiotics, ear drops, eyes, ears, noses, all that good stuff. These cats are so precious. And if you know my cat Maven, who you can't see, who was laying in her little chair staring at me, she came from Save the Stray Schuylkill. And And she has been the love of my life. And little did I know that I would save a cat that would later save me emotionally and mentally, as well as like physically. But those of you asking about Elvis, the king has finally left the building. He is no longer on the adoption block. He has been adopted. He is living his best Elvis life, being fat and happy, and getting all the scritches he and eating all them peanut butter and nanner bacon sandwiches all by himself. And he is loving his life. There are a lot more out there. Go to Save the Stray Schuylkill. I'll put it on this Facebook page, SaveTheStraySchuylkill.com. If you're interested in adopting, there's a whole gallery of kittens that needs to be adopted. There's 2 that she posted today that are twin, or was yesterday maybe, that are twins that are called Tree and Bark. And they are the cutest little things you've ever seen. If you like kitties, even if you don't like kitties, give me your $40. I'm not asking, I'm telling you, give me your $40. There is a donation spot on their page. Donate. And if you donate, put Corner Cauldron podcast on there. A note. So they know where to send the thank you note. I need you guys to help me. It's not for me. It's not for me, it's for Sherry. It's for the cats. It is for Rachel. It is for Holly. It is for Sarah. It is for Sherry. All those who go out in the middle of the night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, with the bathrobes on, their hair's giant and up in giant pink curlers, going here, kitty, 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 in the middle of the night, in the rain with a trap, trying to save a cat's life. They have a cat right now, and I don't know if you are fans of the Save or the Tree of Life Facebook page. If you go to the Tree of Life Facebook page and go down, I think 2 days ago, you will see a video of a kitten. And yes, the sniffling is from Sherry. She was crying. They have a kitten whose name they affectionately named Roomba. And they named her Roomba because they think that she was clipped by a car, and then crawled herself or dragged her bottom half along to a church during the bad thunderstorms that they had up there recently, and fell down some cement steps. And they found her the next day. She has a broken pelvis. She needs surgery. She has a twisted spine that needs surgery. They want to do the surgery because there is a great chance that she will be fine after the surgery, according to the vets. Right now, she is healthy otherwise, and the way she gets around is by scooching with her 2 front legs everywhere. And she looks like a little black Roomba that cleans your floor, trying to go from one end to the other. She does eat, she does drink, she meows. She has issues going to the potties. They have to actually pick her up and take her to the potty. But through people who are compassionate like that, that will actually take her. I believe she is with Sherry right now, and they're looking after her. But the only way that they can help these cats and keep doing the good work that they do is through your donations. And they're running on empty with donations. So I want to see you guys at 392 West Apple Street in Ringtown, Pennsylvania at 1 p.m. on July 19th. You will get more than just a show for your $40. And y'all better bring some cat food or cat toys or something with you. Bring some litter. They don't care what kind it is. wet food, dry food, toys, blankets. They need it. I will have a donation box at that front door. And I see it full. If you're going to donate from the website or send it to them, please let them know in the message box that you saw it on Corner Cauldron podcast. So that I will know, I'll know how many people donated from this. And you're gonna get tired of me saying it, but I'm gonna send it through every one of my social medias every other day if I got to. Okay. Tim says, sounds like Donna and I, we just spent $6,000 Friday on our Maltese miso. $6,000 on your miso. On miso, what happened? That she needed $6,000 worth of surgery. Oh
Yeah,
Lord.
she had to have emergency
Poor
surgery.
miso. Poor thing.
Yeah, and it was like 2:30 in the morning, so they had to
The
call in
medical
a
system
surgical
is an
team and
interesting
the
place to check
vet.
out.
Yeah, so yeah, $6,000.
Oh, I got Dave. Mom's gonna come.
Yay, hi Dave.
We'll go to that.
Yeah, we're kind of
sometime
unable to
soon.
do the comments in the
So
StreamYard.
PT2's coming on here. He's probably gonna talk us about. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, there he is. Howdy.
Howdy.
What happened to me, Sue?
Yeah, we had to take her into the emergency
What happened
vet.
to your Maltese?
Yeah, we had to take her into the emergency vet Friday evening about 2:30.
Oh,
So she had to have emergency surgery.
oh no.
Yeah, so they had to call in a surgical team and all that stuff. So yeah, $6,000 later. She's doing good though.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that.
I
for my
guess so
dogs.
for 6,000.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
That's why I eat beans and cornbread. I can't have damn steak and potatoes.
Neither
That's
of us,
because
because I have a cat, and bro, you have Alfie and Mia,
Mm-hmm.
who are pretty darn expensive. Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's why I got my eyeballs on this one over here. The next time she tries to eat something she's not supposed to eat, we're gonna have a long,
Oh.
very long conversation. I'm gonna make my cat go. She's looking at me like she don't understand me. We're gonna make her throw it out in a circle on the street corner.
Right.
Pay for her medical bill. Absolutely. You hear that, May? We're gonna make you throw it out in a circle on the street corner. She's looking at me like, girl, bye. Just let me sleep. Oh, Lord. All right, sir. I'm sorry I was long-winded. Anything else
No.
that you have to say that you'd like to say?
No.
Alrighty. I think we're gonna call it.
Yeah. No. Everybody have a good week.
Do what?
Everybody have a good, safe week. Do what you do. If you got some
Yes.
you want to hear about, you want us to talk about, hit us. I'm Spirit Searcher 649 at gmail.com. Put something in there. We'll find the topic. We'll do something.
Crickets, people, crickets. And mine is Ghost Whisperer 318 at gmail.com. And I actually got a topic that we may want to research for next time that sounds kind of good from someone.
Okay.
So we didn't have time to research it. I didn't have time to give it to you because I was on vacation. So we will butt heads and think about that subject.
Okay.
By the way, again, this little light of mine, Carrie Hopper, this little light of mine skincare products. They are going to be at the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash again this summer in 2 weeks on the 27th, I think it is, 26th, 27th, something around there, Saturday and Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They will be there at the bash at the Eisenhower Spire Hotel. Tell Carrie that you saw me toting out her products. Go get you some Reiki and crystal infused lotions, body butters, body scrubs, lip scrubs, and bath bombs. This is the Chill Baby. It's good for after sun, especially me who's white as copy paper, who gets sunburnt a lot, like I did this past weekend. And for muscle fatigue after you work out at the gym. She says that's another good way to try it. If you work out in the gyms and you get muscle fatigues, smack some of that on there if you take sure, and get yourself all scrubby dubbed. Smack some of that on there. It smells really good. Scrubby dubbies. All right, y'all. We gonna get out of here. Bro, good to see you again, honey. I miss you and Lucy. If I don't get to talk to you before you go on vacationes, you and Lucy have a safe trip down. Have a good time with. Are the kids coming?
Oh, the whole crew.
Are the kids going?
Yes.
I said be safe.
It's our standard family run.
Smart. Have a good time. And I'll see them when they. All right. There you go. Yeah. Got to do it with the fams. All right, everybody. We love you all. And as I always say, love, peace, chicken grease, y'all. Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.